Beautiful day, Patriots. How are you? We've just resting and recuperating from yesterday. We had a great time. And, it was all about trying to stay healthy, get yourself in shape. But I was listening to the governor of California just a minute ago. He was live a couple minutes ago doing an announcement. And it pretty much echoed what the mayor of New York said. Possibly the governor of New York, I forget. But they're coming down with now new requirements for all state employees to be proof of vaccination and or tested weekly or biweekly. And this was mandatory, right? But the part that I wanted, there's two parts that I wanted to discuss and show. And it was the same thing with the governor down in Florida. If you listen to the talk, you can get caught up in the emotions of it, let's just say. But if you can step out and hear the tactics that are being used, it's everybody says the truth if you just know how to listen to what's being said. So definitely the governor in Florida had said the same thing that the governor of California just got done saying. And that was that if you are a prisoner or homeless, you would be mandatory required to take the vaccination for their safety. He even said for their safety, not yours, but for everybody else's safety. So if you are not vaccinated, you could be held under arrest, like a DUI, say. Therefore, you are arrested, you are a prisoner, and it will be, therefore, mandatory. Or if you're homeless, mandatory. And if you can't prove where you live, let's just say for a minute, let's say you're walking down the street and something's going on and you just got caught up in the middle of things and you didn't bring your ID and wallet with you because you live in a free America. But they can then say, where's your ID? You do have to prove who you are if you're under suspicion. So these are the fine prints that I want to talk about. Let's see. Okay, so now let's talk about the other thing. When you listen to the governor of California talking, he literally says at the end, right before he starts to ask for questions, and says, I quote, not maybe verbatim, he says, "This is the spirit that drives me." He said, "This is the spirit," he said it twice, that makes me motivated, I think it was. But these are not accidental words that these folks use. So I want to point out the fact of how, what he was also saying that in California there's a 74% of people that have taken the vaccine, and they're worried about 26. Now it's got to be mandatory and mandated because of 26% of the people. Wouldn't that just kind of... Anyways, we understand what's happening. What I want to say is that, most people won't listen to the details. He was also... let's put in the third thing. Why not? He was echo chambering what a lot of the other ones are saying at the moment right now, to take away free speech. That if you do not toe the line of the absolute 100% governmental agenda, you should not be allowed to speak on any platform whatsoever or speak freely. Because anything that you would say that would go against the government would be misinformation and therefore a crime. Therefore, you've been arrested Hmm? We also have evacuation notices that are going out right now. And being that if you're homeless and can't prove where you're at, you have to be vaccinated. And there's going to be millions of people that are getting their rental mandatorium hiatus, the timeout because of the pandemic. You didn't have to pay your rent or your mortgage, or I'm not sure exactly what those were all about. But we do know that there's millions of people all across America in all different states that have been hurt by this pandemic financially and will be losing their homes here. I believe just as soon as the end of this month, a couple days from now, less than a week. So that means that the sheriffs and the marshals and the police have to go out and kick people out physically. So that's our tax dollars being spent to be used to kick people out. Because nobody else can kick a person out of the house except for the police and the marshals. So that's going to tie up a lot of police. And this might seem like I'm trying to say one side or the other because, that I'm talking probably, okay, well, Florida's a Republican and California's a Democrat, New York's a Democrat, states, correct? But yet, it's the same agenda. They work together. I mean, if anybody can't figure this out by now and still think something like a 2022 vote would work or a 2024 vote would work, or regardless of whoever's running, I mean, you really have to think and concentrate and use common sense and logic to understand that the government is working on its own agenda. Does this mean and include President Donald Trump? Absolutely. Absolutely. I was lucky enough to get so involved in something I've never cared about or realized that, I always knew it was all possession and possessed. Democrat, demon Democrat. I mean, it's just right there from the beginning. A child sees it. So does this include the whole Republican Party and the whole Democratic Party? The parties, there's individuals that try to start and go up the ladder, but then the ladder always corrupts.